But the senator, while indoctrinated, could not explain his toxicity.
You should not listen to men's rights advocates if you want to know what they have to say.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. It's been a while. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Brian, and I'm here with Hannah, Karen, and Natty. Mike J will be joining us in a little while as well, and we are going to be essentially filling you guys in. If you didn't go to the ICMI, I thought we would all get together and just have a little chin wag about the weekend. You know, it's funny because we didn't really see that much of each other because we were all like doing different stuff. And it was actually the biggest ICMI yet. We had nearly twice as many people that were watching. I mean, we sold twice as many tickets, but some of them were virtual tickets. But we had a lot of people at this year's conference. So like I said, I just thought we'd have a little talk. We haven't seen you guys in a while, and this will be like a video that'll lead into us resuming our normally scheduled programming going forward. So I guess first off, now that you guys are back home, who here is still tired?
Me.
I'm fucking exhausted. Fuck you, Brian. Why is that even a question?
I don't know.
I'm actually quite rested.
You fucker! I hate you.
I love you, Karen.
And I kept working, so does that count?
Oh, I feel that feel. Yeah, I've been working since I got back. Natty, how are you doing? I know you were the one that came the longest distance.
Yeah, I know, and it's taken me... Today I've started to feel normal again. It's taken me this long. And when I came back, my son has got 4 teeth coming in at the same time. So...
oh, no.
Yeah, so when I came back, he was like obviously super engrossed in wanting to breastfeed. But then I realized it wasn't really because he missed the breastfeeding as much, although it is that. It was because he's got 4 teeth coming at the same time. So, yeah, that's been fun. But yeah, no, Richard, who I shared a room with, he's been in bed all week, and I'm just jealous because I wish I was in bed the whole week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I see some comments I'm going to respond to. If you guys want to send us super chats, that would be great. Ben sent us $5 and says, sorry I couldn't make it. I wanted to, but couldn't. Hear some shekels to make up for it. And then Michael Keller asked, I watched this video. So we had all these great speakers this year. A lot of guys from NCFM that I never got to meet before, or at least guys that I didn't see at previous ICMIs, like Harry Crouch, for example. I never met him, and Tom Golden. But also a lot of guys that are just sort of like generally, you know, speak on in YouTube. And one guy that was particularly cool was Terrence Pop. And Terrence Pop made a video about the ICMI when he got back from the lair, as he calls it. And he said Karen drank him under the table. He was extremely impressed with Karen.
I did not. I don't even think I had a drink with Terrence at all, but maybe he just observed me drinking and was like, I could never actually stand up to that. Maybe, I don't know, but
I'll put this.
Go ahead.
I'll put this one to bed right now. Monday is the day we all went out shooting, and we went out about 10 a.m. Karen was at the bar. We got back around 3 p.m. Karen was at the bar. We went out to go get something to eat. We came back around 5-ish. Karen was at the bar. I ended up leaving maybe around 7 or 8 that day. Karen was still at the bar, but she did take a break to say goodbye to me.
Okay, I will tell everybody 10 a.m. I was at the bar, but the bar wasn't serving drinks until 11:45. So that was a whole hour and 45 minutes where I was at the bar not drinking.
Stone dry.
Thank you very much. What a freaking... What a barbaric freaking place Chicago is that they don't serve drinks until 11:45. What the fuck? But yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I'm a sipper. That's what I am. So I sip all day, all day.
And it's
I
white.
don't.
It's
They're
just white
actually
wine, guys.
they're actually probably not allowed to sell it that early. It's one of the things, if you're not from the US, you don't know this, but not only are there different alcohol licenses for the type of place that you're serving alcohol in or selling alcohol in,
But state to
they
state.
state to state they have some differences, and then on top of that they differ in terms of what you have times of day that you're allowed to start, and then times of day that you have to stop. And so you have opening and closing time, even if it's in a place that is open all the time and closed all the time. The bar opens and closes, and they differ depending on what type of establishment it is as
Oh,
well.
I remember being in Atlanta and wanting to just grab a bottle of wine, and apparently, or it was in Kennesaw, in Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, and the convenience store had they were supposed to stop selling liquor at 11 o'clock at night, and we arrived at 20 to 11, and they'd already closed out their till and closed everything off and said they wouldn't sell us anything, and we had to go to a different place. So it was just like when we arrived 20 minutes to 11. So it was like, yeah, no, it's different in every single place. It's different the same in Ontario. 10 years ago I was there, and you could only go to a government-run liquor store. There were no private liquor stores there to speak of, and so if you wanted anything, you had to go within.
That's the good old LCBO.
Wow.
Yeah, essentially within business hours, bankers' hours is how they operate. I think they
That's
were
some
open.
next level socialism.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
they were
yeah.
open. I think they were open until like 9 on Saturdays or something, or Fridays. But other
Ohio
than that,
has-
it was till 6. Yeah.
Ohio has a step up or down or whatever you want to say from that. For instance, if I wanted it, I could, after I get off work at night, I could go into my neighborhood grocery store and buy beer, and I could buy wine, but I can't buy whiskey because they can't start selling that type of alcohol until after I would be in bed.
Okay, but you can get all that stuff at your grocery store here in Alberta. Okay, and you would think, especially since cannabis is legal now, right? Across Canada, you would think, okay, so you got one-stop shopping, right? You got alcohol, you got cannabis, you got cigarettes, and you got lottery tickets, and maybe like painkillers, like Advil or something like that for the hangover, right? And you would think, oh, that would be the perfect business idea. That would be the perfect business model in
But
a
you
place
can't
where
do it.
all of those things are legal. But the only two things that you can buy in the same place are cigarettes and lottery tickets. You can't buy alcohol where you can buy cigarettes. You can't buy cannabis where you can buy alcohol or cigarettes, right? And you can't buy cannabis or alcohol where you can buy cigarettes or lottery tickets. Or
Yep,
Advil.
and
Okay, can I
that's
just
the
interrupt
environment
here?
in which we're having this type of conference, and in which we're trying to get all of these laws changed and all of these policies changed that
Can I-
discriminate against
Yes,
men.
Natty, you can.
Sorry, can I just jump in here? Sorry, because
Yes.
I'm just listening to this. This is hilarious. You guys, you've got your First Amendment and your Second Amendment, but we have 24-hour alcohol licenses, okay? Right? I can buy
Yeah.
alcohol pretty much anytime, depending on. So it's up to the business to apply for that license, but it's available, and I can buy lottery tickets and cigarettes and alcohol in the same place. So I'm winning.
Oh, you got another one too. You can drink outside, right?
We can. Oh my God!
Yeah.
When we went to Seattle to this outdoor music festival when Mia was a baby, I couldn't go within a certain foot of a bar with the baby in my arms, and I was like, "What is this?"
Oh
I
yeah.
can go to a pub in the UK and buy a drink, but I can't go near a bar with a certain amount of distance because the baby's in my arms. What?
Yeah, imagine if you lived on one side of a bar and you worked at a place that was down the street on the other side of the bar. You would actually have to go out of your way to go past the bar, especially if your work was where your daycare was, but if you were underage or if you had a baby with you, you couldn't just take the baby with you and walk past. And then the other one is, so in my hometown where I grew up, my parents used to have an open front porch. It's covered now to be replaced after an earthquake, but when it was open, you could go out and sit on the porch if you're still in your house technically when you're on your porch, and have a beer. But if you stepped off the porch onto the sidewalk, you were in violation of open container laws.
Well, this is what I tried to remind, like originally the first, because I arrived on Wednesday, and but the Thursday night I noticed, Friday morning, noticed that there were cigarette butts all over around the front of the hotel, and there was also a glass from the bar sitting by the bench in the smoking area, and I just calmly and quietly let all of the Brits and other assorted Europeans know that, you can't actually necessarily take your alcohol out to the smoking area.
I did that numerous times.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
But, you're legally, you're not supposed to do that. Almost positive. Legally, you're not supposed to take your alcoholic beverage out onto what is considered a private it's private property, but also a public space, right? So it's not a fenced-in patio where that has a liquor license attached to it. It's just a public area, an area open to the public where anybody can go and people have to walk across. That's not necessarily something that you can do. So please, even if you're going to do that, be discreet about it. Don't be obnoxious, and please don't leave your beverage containers sitting on the pavement beside the bench. And after that, I didn't see a single beverage container sitting outside, and all of the cigarettes made their way into the ashtrays.
All right, I'm gonna get in here.
We have our guns and our free speech, but here in the United States, we allow our government to tell us what we may or may not ingest.
Yeah,
because we're crazy.
I'm gonna get in here real quick and shift the subject away from liquor laws in different countries, and back onto the ICMI. So I thought maybe I'll go around and ask you guys a couple of questions. So like I said, Hannah, Mike J, myself, Karen, and Natty were all we were kind of living in different parts of the place, even though we were moving around, and we probably had like different experiences. Like I didn't see hardly any of the panels. For example, Karen got to see all of the ones in one room, and Hannah as well, I believe, as an example. So first I thought I would start by asking you guys, and I'll just go around and ask you guys individually. I'll start with Hannah. Who was a person that you were looking forward to seeing or meeting for the first time in the conference that you knew of?
Oh gosh, most? Because I don't know if I can pick a most. I was very much looking forward to seeing all you guys again. I was very much looking forward to seeing the guys from A Voice for Men. Oddly enough, like Suzanne lives right over at one state over from me, and I never get to see her unless I'm at a event that includes A Voice for Men.
You mean Susie McCarley?
Like, yeah. And there's a whole bunch of people. I was happy to see Terrence Popp again. I didn't really get to spend very much time with Sargon, but I did get to spend some time with Count Dankula, and I was excited to see both of them. I mean, all of the speakers. I had wanted to get a chance to talk to Tommy Sotomayor, and I didn't get a chance because I was just swamped. And then the one opportunity I had, he was swamped. So that didn't get to happen. But I was really happy I got to meet her, and I really was happy to get to meet Lauren since I've been talking to her on HBR Talk for a year now or something. And
and, I met Lauren at MythCon, and I just realized that you guys hadn't met her yet.
So, and all of our colleagues from across the pond, I was thrilled to death to get to see everybody. So,
what about you, Karen?
Actually, I was actually really interested in hearing what Robbie Suave had to say because I've been reading his stuff on Reason.com for a while, and I know that he's a little bit more, I guess, socially and economically moderate than a lot of the people that you and I might run in circles with. But he's very much a free speech and he's a constitutionalist. So on that aspect of it, I was looking forward to hearing what he had to say about a variety of things. And Tommy Sotomayor, like I'd been on his show and was really looking forward to actually meeting him in person. He blew me away, his presentation. I actually, because I didn't see everybody's presentation in full. I was like, this is all gonna all be uploaded, and I'm not gonna miss out on anything if I leave the room, have a smoke, and type up the next intro, and do all of those things while they're giving their talk. So I was on the job rather than there as a spectator. But I actually stayed for his entire talk and for Janice's. So, and he just actually, I really, really, really enjoyed his talk. It was sort of like a men's, particularly a father's rights manifesto with a little bit of Chris Rock thrown in. It was beautiful. And I just really enjoyed it. So, I mean, like I was looking forward to meeting him. So it was really the people that I hadn't met before that I was, Mr. Reagan was looking forward to meeting him. The people and Count Ankula, people that I hadn't actually had a chance to meet before. Those were the people I was really looking forward to meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Mike J?
Well, first off, Dank was an absolute blast. He was the first person I saw coming into the hotel. Well, not even in the hotel yet. I was just arriving on the shuttle, and boom, he's right there, chain smoking with Randomer Camp.
Of course.
Naturally. I mean, naturally, the Europeans. And then meeting Hannah, meeting Karen, because I had never met them before, although I get along enough with Hannah that it didn't feel like we were meeting for the first time. It just felt like this was simply the first time we were actually seeing each other in person for the first time.
You are a sweetheart.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay.
Oh God, now I'm embarrassed. Of course, seeing everybody, a lot of people for the second time. Technically third time for you, Brian, because there was the Red Pill screening, then there was VidCon, and yeah, this makes number 3. Seeing Paul Elam again, that was great. He's always a blast to talk to. Seeing so many people for the first time, period. Seeing so many people from the Discord. Man, we had such a strong showing of people that are kind of regulars there, and we kind of just had our own little group that we were rolling around with, usually like a dozen people strong, just throughout the entire convention, and that was great. Yeah.
What about you, Natty?
Hey, so I was really happy to meet. I think the person I was most excited about was Tommy Sotomayor. And I really liked
wow,
his
a lot of
well.
support for Tommy here. That's awesome. But go ahead.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people that would. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I just want to take credit as being the person who suggested him as a keynote.
Oh,
and I was just like, we need to have him, and everybody was like, who the fuck is this? And I was like, no, we need to have this guy.
Yeah.
So, there you go. My that's all my doing. My credit, Brian.
You can have that. You can have that. It was my idea was Hooters. Your idea was Tommy. I'm glad you got him. I've been watching him for years. Natty.
Okay.
And obviously, I was happy to see Philip Davies again. And I know that sounds weird because obviously he's in London. I'm in London, or he doesn't. Well, he's part-time in London. But because I have, babies, and because of Brexit, I haven't made any effort to see him in the recent times. So I was really happy I got to sit down with him for like an hour and a bit. And we're going to meet up again soon. So I was really happy to see him. And I was happy to meet Susie. from AVFM,
Mm-hmm.
because I've chatted to her so much on Facebook and whatnot. So that was really cool. And there was a few people who I've been talking to online for like a couple of years at least, who I met for the first time, who are not like speakers or anything. They're just friends of mine. So that was really cool. And everyone else, of course. But I think that's what I was most excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely looking forward to meeting Tommy Sotomayor because I've been watching him for so long.
I was really happy to meet Diana Davison in person.
Yeah, Diana Davison. Yeah, I didn't think she was gonna come, but then she got off when I saw her walking around, and I was like, "Is that Diana Davison?" I had to go say hi. Yeah, I never met her before either. She was a really good person to talk to. Tommy was awesome. I got along with him right away, and I couldn't believe how well I clicked with Mr. Reagan. I thought that I don't know what I expected, but I got along with him immediately. In fact,
because he's so conservative, right? And
yeah,
and it's like he's so conservative, and you think that you're gonna have a hard time maybe getting along, meeting eye to eye, with him.
Yeah.
But no, he's like totally friendly. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Very personable. Go ahead, Natty.
Can I just say that Terrence Popp? I've seen his stuff, but I wasn't necessarily bothered about meeting him.
Mm-hmm.
But he made me laugh quite a lot, and every time I walk past him, he would go, "Hi, British."
Everybody should get a chance to meet Terrence Popp.
Oh yeah, no, he's unbelievably awesome. Like he was the guy at the first ICMI when I got cornered at lunch. We all adjourned for lunch, and everybody was sort of like forming groups to go off and have lunch at local restaurants together, and I got kind of cornered by somebody I don't even remember who, so they could thank me for what I do and all of that stuff, and I turn around and the whole building's empty except for Terrence Popp, right? And I'm like, please come eat with me. I don't want to eat alone. And he's like, okay. And we had a wonderful lunch together. It was great. So yeah.
He's really, really great. He's quite knowledgeable in several areas of the movement and everything, but he's also just a really fun guy to be around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was there a person that you guys met at the conference that maybe you never heard of them or didn't know of them, but you were surprisingly you found them surprisingly pleasant, or you liked them or whatever, like you were surprised at, I guess, how cool they were? I'll start with Natty on that one. It doesn't have to be a speaker or anything, but maybe someone that just sort of,
Who was that guy? And I never got to talk to him properly. But who was the guy who was dressed up like a pimp?
Oh, I don't know. I saw
His name was Edwards.
Someone was cosplaying on one day. I saw this guy, and I have a picture. By the way, these photos, there's a slideshow going for those of you guys who are watching this at home. And these are all pictures taken by people who were attending the conference, and they were basically getting uploaded to Hoova, which is the app we use. I'm just going through the slideshow so you guys can see, pictures from the event and basically get the FOMO if you weren't there yourself. So I know, I think it was on Saturday, there was a guy cosplaying as some character, and there was also like a cat girl there. And I thought, This is a straight up con now. Like, this is a proper con. They're cosplayers.
The cat girl who is not a girl.
Oh. Well, I didn't stare. I'm just gonna put it out there. I didn't stare.
Is a member of our Discord.
Okay. So that was a trap girl, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. And the guy, there was a guy dressed up. So Natty, what about him?
Yeah, so he just sort of turned up. This was kind of late afternoon, evening, and I was like, "So why are you dressed up like a pimp?" And he was like, "Well, I'm going to go in the VIP area bit, and it said that it was going to be like formal, so I dressed formal." I was like, "Right," and he had on, full kind of bow tie, extravagant colors. Didn't any of you speak to him or see him? He had a pimp stick. What do you call that?
The
walking stick.
A pimp cane. That's what we
pinned
call it.
cane,
That's
there
what
we
we call
go.
it in the hood, anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
and I took a picture of it, but then when I looked at the picture later, it wasn't very clear, and I was like, oh fucking hell, because on the top of the cane was a woman riding a penis.
Oh. No, I did not see
Okay.
that. I did not see that.
I hope that Bloomberg didn't interview him, because
we'll get to
Or
the
BBC.
journalists later. What about
oh damn it.
what about you, Mike J? Is there someone that you met that you didn't know, but you thought they were pretty cool? They turned out to be pretty cool.
We talked to X-Man for a bit, Xavier, and he's someone I had no idea about. I talked to him a little bit before you made the formal introduction to us, and he was really, really, really quiet, really not really a talkative sort of guy. But
Yeah.
I was glad I got to talk to him a little bit, like one-on-one, before we kind of forced him into a more social situation.
Yeah.
He seemed like a cool, fun guy. I believe he writes for A Voice for Men. So, we had that in common. We're both writers.
Oh, that's cool.
And he was a cool guy, and I kind of wish I got to speak to him a little bit more.
Does anyone know that guy? Because I kind of did a big social faux pas. Because when we were leaving Hooters, and I was trying to say goodbye to everyone, and I was waiting for the other guy to get in the Uber with him, he was next to someone else who I was saying goodbye to. And I looked at him, and I just saw kind of like caramel colored black guy, and I thought it was this other guy who I'd spoken to earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, it's good to meet you, I'm good, I'm going now. And then the other guy went, yeah, Natoya, they don't all look the same, this is someone else. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, nice to meet you, I haven't met you before, okay. And he was just giving me this like eye, like, who the fuck is this girl, why is she talking to me?
In the moment, in the dark, in a crowd, in a group of people. Yeah, you could do that with anybody, though. It's just that as soon as you do it with somebody that's not white, you open yourself to being razzed for it.
Yeah.
I know. I wish I was there a bit longer, because I totally could have talked myself out of it. I really could have. But anyway, if anyone knows him, just apologize.
Oh yeah, I talk to him all the
Please.
time on Twitter.
A likely story, Natty. We know the truth about you white supremacists over there. You probably
black white supremacists.
You probably
Exactly.
voted Brexit. Okay, so Karen, did you meet anyone there that you weren't sure if you were gonna like, and then you turn out that you did, or whatever? Anything like that?
I don't think so. I think that I knew I was gonna like anybody who was gonna come to this event was gonna be okay. I mean, I guess the one person that I'm not sure that I like, I kind of like her and I got along with her, is the journalist from Bloomberg, right? Because like I don't quite know what to make of her. I don't have a feeling one way or the other in terms of how she's going to portray the event. And I did spend a lot of time with her, and I still haven't got a solid feeling as to how she's going to portray me or the event. So, and she did have, I think, maybe this is just part of being a journalist. She did have some boundary issues, right? Like I would never have intruded the way she did. But then again, she's a journalist, and so that's kind of her job, is to push, right?
Yeah.
So, I just really had a hard time figuring out whether I can trust her to like be honest and reasonable and kind in her portrayal of the event. But other than that, there was really nobody that I would say that I didn't like spending time talking to. Like these events, it's always just people who want to express their appreciation, thank me, and then tell their stories, and that's always something that I'm interested in hearing. So
yeah, did any of you guys get approached? I got approached by a guy who thanked me and he was like, he started crying in front of me about how we saved him, and it was just, I got a little emotional. Did any of you guys run into this gentleman?
I talked to him.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I did have somebody at the bar, thank you very much, at the bar, essentially say, Karen, thank you for saving my life. And then he bought me a drink, which is more than adequate compensation for my small part, in saving his life. I made videos and he found them, and so, yeah. No, but that's something that you get at these things all the time. If you're someone who's sort of in the public eye in terms of this movement, is you're going to get people who come up to you saying those kinds of things and really meaning them. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we sat down and had a great conversation, actually, while I was downloading cards and pictures from the cards and everything, and finagling, trying to get my phone none of the functions to transfer my images from my phone to something else were working properly, except if I took the card out and put it in an adapter and used my card reader on my computer. So I was having a lot of fun doing that in between all the speeches.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically when I had most of my conversations, and I had several conversations like that. And there were several people that stopped by and said they were going to try to get to speak to the other honey badgers, the other people in the group. But I think everybody was just working so hard that weekend that a lot of people didn't get to approach and have discussions because everybody was running around like chickens with their heads cut off. So I think I got to have those conversations because I was sitting still.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, just while we're on this picture, this gentleman on the left here, he actually brought me a gift, and also he bought me 2 shot glasses, one from Wrigley Field and one with this beautiful silver stamped sort of decal on it. Very, very cool. And that was just a really sweet gesture. And I've given the Chicago Cubs hat to my son, who was actually wanting a hat. And we were looking on Amazon, through the 4,000 pages of hats that they have. And he couldn't find one that he wanted other than the $3 hat that said, really, really super cheap hat that said, not gay, but $20 is $20. And I was like, you're not going to be allowed to wear that to school. And he's like, but I am going to wear it around the neighborhood. And so he now has a beautiful Chicago Cubs hat that he can wear. And I've told him to leave the stickers on because that proves that it was bought in Chicago at Wrigley Field. It's an official Chicago Cubs hat. So
Yep.
Thank you to him.
Yeah.
That guy is, I believe if I saw the correct picture, that is Mark from the HBR Discord.
I'm almost positive that that's how he introduced himself. So, oh, hey, this guy here.
Yeah.
This guy here, he actually helped me out with an emergency. There was somebody in the women's washroom in the women's washroom in the lobby who was ill, and I ended up getting pulled out of one of my panel discussions to deal with that, and he was bang on top of helping me out with that, and so thank you to him for that.
This doesn't sound like a men's conference at all.
I was about to say.
Didn't any of you guys get raped or at least a grope? I mean, otherwise we got to step our game up. No groping.
Not only did that not happen, but we saved a woman's life.
Well, I don't think her life was at stake, but she was having a problem. I think she just overdid it. Lack of sleep, too much alcohol, and lots of stress and excitement, and so we got her a key card for somebody's room so she could sort of have a lie down on somebody's couch and recuperate, and she was fine. But yeah, it was a little bit of a crisis in the middle of a panel discussion that I was moderating.
Whoa.
And the only reason he couldn't handle it all on his own was because he needed a woman to go into the women's washroom. So yeah.
That's funny.
There you go.
So let me see. I was gonna ask. Oh no, Hannah talked about talking to that one gentleman already. So were there any particular highlights? I just wanted to. I mean, there was a lot of great moments. I think that man approaching me and telling me that that we saved him. I don't know if it's the same person, but whoever. I mean, it's either
I think it is.
It might be. I mean, I would assume so, but that for me was a highlight. I was actually, I just saw a picture of Desiree from Just Thinking Out Loud. I was really surprised at how absolutely cool she was. Like, she was really good about communicating. If I said, hey, you want to do something, she responded right away. She was a go-getter. She was really curious, inquisitive, and a great conversation. Desiree was really cool. So you guys should subscribe to her channel.
Especially for a vegan.
Yes, especially for a vegan. Yes.
I only discovered she was a vegan by happenstance, and I was like, oh my God.
How long has she been a vegan for?
We don't know.
Years apparently is what she told me. So I don't know exactly how long, but yeah, no, she's just she was just really cool. And she spent a lot more time listening and talking at the conference, which I think is probably kind of just her personality. Is she wants to hear a whole bunch of different perspectives and then untangle them all in her mind and come out with something good to say. So so
she can go
she's not a loudmouth like me.
No, but she does think out loud on her channel called Just Thinking Out Loud.
Yes.
I had this running joke with the quartering. So Jeremy was there. He was pretty cool too. And I had Jeremy's always shilling his channel when he's on his channel. And when we all had dinner together, I was there with Desiree. And Desiree, to me, is criminally undersubbed. She's only got about, I don't know, I think it's around 17,000 subs. And I think her content's a lot better than that. Now, I also believe that we are criminally undersubbed as well. So, but I was telling people at the table, I introduce everyone to everyone. I'm the one who actually brought, when I saw Philip Davies was in and he was sitting silently, quietly on a table by himself, basically preparing his speech. I saw him there, I introduced myself, and then I immediately went to go find Carl Benjamin to bring him over to introduce him to Philip. So that picture that you guys are looking at of Philip Davies, so that you saw, I made that happen. Now, it was probably going to happen on its own anyway, but this was basically what I was doing for most of the weekend. Was I was meeting people and I was introducing people to other people. And when I introduced Desiree, go ahead, Natty, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I introduced Philip Davies to Phil from the White House Committee for Men and Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And he really appreciated that. Yeah, Phil Cook,
Yeah.
that's his surname. And he was really happy with that as well. So Philip got introduced to a few people, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember seeing him in the lobby working on his speech, preparing, and I just went up to him and said, I'm just gonna warn you in advance. I have some very, very, very horrible things to say about you, because he hadn't been there for the whole conference, and I was really gonna say horrible things about him, and I didn't want him to think I was singling him out or anything like that. Because you never know. Sometimes people take that kind of thing seriously, but he said it won't be anything worse than what the press has said, and I said, "Oh, I'm pretty sure it will be." So,
yeah. So I was introducing Desiree to people, and a lot of the people that were there, they were much, there was Sargon was there, and Quartern was there, and Dankula was there. Dankula was wasted Thursday night. I think it was Thursday night. He was completely smashed, and
that's the night we got in, and
they had to carry him to his bed.
I'll tell you the backstory behind that one is kind of fun.
No, it is fun.
We got in. I got in, and I was looking for Kyle, our sommelier in chief, and he was going to be the one doing our liquor store run for the weekend. And we asked Dank if he wanted anything, and Dank specifically requested a bottle of Balvenie, not a cheap liquor, but we were going all out, so we went in and we got it. And I was the one that delivered it to him, and he was fucking stoked. His eyes lit up like a child on Christmas morning. And he just immediately looked and was like, "Dude, we're drinking tonight." And that bottle was gone in like less than an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the last bit.
Yeah. I didn't have any. He was asking me
I
to
had
come
the last
over.
bit of that bottle.
Yeah, he was getting me to come over to the table to have some, and I went over there, but they drank it before they could give me any, and so but it's okay. I wanted to like talk with everyone, and I got to stay at the table despite the fact that I didn't drink from that bottle. But that while I was there, I was introducing people to Desiree, and I was telling them about her channel, and the quartering shouted from the back, "Hey man, why are you shilling for her, man? You should be shilling for me." And so we spent the rest of the weekend, every time I ran into the quartering, I'd ask everyone around him at that moment to subscribe to Desiree's channel. And it was just this running joke that we had going on. It's pretty funny.
Does anybody did anybody notice, and this is something that I noticed at Mythicist as well, the quartering is gigantic.
Yeah.
He's a giant. He's like a refrigerator of a human being, only taller.
Yes.
And he doesn't come across that way when he's on camera on his YouTube channel. But when you meet him in person, it's like, whoa, this is a very, very tall, large person. Holy crap.
Yeah, I think he's about as tall as Paul, if not taller than Paul.
And
almost. And
some dumbass had the guts to assault that guy at a convention.
I know.
It's like, you gotta be kidding me. I barely got to see him at all during the entire guy. Like, I saw him Thursday night, and I was gonna go over to the table where everybody was hanging out and talking, and I was like, I stood up and I'm like, I'm so tired, I'm gonna pass out. I didn't want to do that in the lobby, so I went up to bed. but I saw how tall and everything he was. I was just, the first thing I thought of was, what idiot would attack that guy?
Yeah, and you know what? You know what it is? It's small dog syndrome, right? Because you see small dogs all the time attacking dogs 5 times their size, right? Because there must be something instinctive in their psyche that tells them the bigger dog isn't actually going to retaliate, because he's just going to be like, yeah, no, at the most he'll like kind of wave them away. But yeah, I think that's probably what it is, because I would not pick a fight with the quartering. I would never ever do that. Was he there for the whole thing, or was he just there for like 1 or 2 days?
He was there until Saturday, like late Saturday. I think he took off, or was it mid Sunday? He wasn't there for the whole thing, but he was there for most of it. Yeah, he was there for most of it.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm going to read some super chats, and then I want to ask you guys one other thing. So we're like at 10 minutes to the hour. So The Great Indoors gives us €2 and says, Karen is a cryaholic. I think you mean some like addiction to ice, maybe?
How dare you? How dare you, sir? I did not cry even once. Not even once. And you will take that back, or I will initiate legal action.
There was totally something in her eye the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the air in the hotel. That's what it was.
It was very dry. It was very dry and cold in the hotel. That
place was cold.
And
that place was super cold.
They put onions and everything. Wait, it was cold to you, Natty? You're in the UK, isn't it?
We don't have aircon in every single place in the UK. Remember, come on.
You almost have
comfortable.
You almost don't have air conditioning anywhere. Almost.
Richard was like, "Can I get another hoodie? Because I'm cold."
I was overheating until the day after. The day after was when I was sitting in the lobby and actually felt cold, and that was probably because I was like just humming through the whole thing.
Well, by the way, Richard had a mini seizure And our way of helping him out was to sit him outside because it was warm outside. It was
Yeah.
too cold inside.
Yeah, actually, sometimes any little stressor can contribute to that.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it was the air conditioning was nice, but it can do that to you.
Natty, I
Yeah.
heard that Tommy spent some time talking with Richard.
Yeah, they did, and they got a good selfie.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think that picture is
Yeah.
in this slideshow. Actually, the picture of Tommy and Richard together. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
That's awesome because you know I think Tom was telling me Tom, our AV guy, who is a hero, an absolute hero, who was sharing my room with me and did not sexually assault me the entire time, but did stand at the edge of my bed staring at me while I slept, according to him.
To keep you safe. It was to keep you safe.
Yeah, to guard me. But essentially, he said Tommy was swamped after his talk, and he just kind of like went through the crowd and said, "This gentleman out here missed your talk because he's not feeling well. Could you come out and have a few words with him?" And he said that Tommy spent a fair amount of time chatting with Richard. So that was just really sweet.
Yeah.
It was just a sweet story.
I'm really glad that happened, and to be honest, I'm really glad that Richard came. To be honest, you know, that was a big deal for him. So
Yeah, he was great to talk to finally in person. He's someone we've been kind of discussing this with. He's always in the Discord, it seems, and it was fun to see him in person. He's exactly like who he is online.
Yep.
And he's a great guy. He's full of positivity.
Richard,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's our Richard.
I met Richard at last year's ICY 2018, and I had him sit next to us. I said, "Hey man, you should come hang out," and he was around for a bit. That was the first time I met him, so it was a year ago.
Yeah, he's another person that is just just fun to be around. He's a good guy.
This whole event with so many people that we've kind of know but haven't met in real life. It kind of just felt like one big high school reunion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna read the rest of the super chat. I literally read one. Let me read the rest of them. Ben gives us $2 and says, "I buy my whiskey at 9 a.m. at my grocery store." Holy shit. Tyler Preston gives us $5 and says, "Welcome back, Badgers. I saw how Takedown MRAs and his goons had been harassing the Sheraton Hotel to cancel the conference. Guys, pathetic. Hilarious is what you mean to say. Hilarious. You know the Sheraton has put up.
Oh, fucking take.
We're gonna talk about this on Thursday. So don't go too overboard.
We don't have to go into it. But
next time you want to cancel a convention, maybe start before the convention actually begins and not 20 hours before the end of it.
He did actually. He did a bunch of stuff before, but no, he just is inept.
No, it's not that he's inept, right? And this is really where I want to give props to the Sheraton. When they got the call, when Sheraton O'Hare got the call from corporate saying, "What the fuck is going on?" Right? One of the managers came in and just kind of checked things out in the 2 rooms that were live streaming. And I was just like, "Is there a problem?" He says, "Well, there's some stuff blowing up on social media." And I, oh my God, don't phone me. And so I essentially, I said, "Is everything okay?" And he says, yeah, no, everything's fine. And then I went up and asked him afterwards, when I saw him the next day at the desk, I asked, how was everything? And he said, absolutely 100% fine. Everything was, that there was not a single problem with our group. There was not a single anything. And so hats off to them. Because they really came through. They were under fire on social media, and they didn't bow to it.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm gonna
Actually,
murder this
you,
person.
You gotta
If you look at hashtag boycott Sheridan on Twitter, you'll see this is not the first time somebody has tried to get them to kick somebody out.
Yes.
And they seem to be champions of free speech as long as you don't go in there and do something that is a violation of your contract with them. And as long as you were upfront with them going in and everything, they're probably going to be just fine. I don't think that a social media mob is going to be able to force that organization to silence anybody just because they don't like them.
Yeah. Also, it's been Zoidberg approved, apparently, according to Zoidberg, who's over there in Edmonton, staying at Karen's place. So yeah, I thought the takedown thing was funny, but that'll be a whole thing that that Hannah will go into. Polaris $2 says, who took those pictures? It was basically various attendees, even some organizers. I took pictures. Everybody was taking pictures, everybody. And they were all getting uploaded. A lot of them were getting uploaded to the Hoova app, which I use to kind of pull this gallery together. So Robert T. Longway gives us $4.99 and says, I awkwardly thanked Hannah in person Saturday, but wanted to take this opportunity to thank all Badgers and staff for everything you do. Well, thank you so much, Robert, for coming. It's because people like you come to these things that we even want to organize these things. Polaris 589 gives us $5 again and says, Hannah, did you eat that kek I gave you? And what about you, Mike?
I did.
Yeah?
I did. It was delicious.
I still need to eat my kek.
Yeah, so you have your keks, and did you? How many?
I kept the wrapper.
Didn't you have enough keks for everybody, or were you limited on keks? You need to get more keks, apparently. Ben,
Hard to
gives
find
us
keks in California.
how many? Oh, you can find keks in California. I bet.
No, I said it's hard to find keks. In California.
It's hard to find keks. Yeah.
Needs more kick.
Ben gives us $2 and says, you guys are making me feel worse for not going. Cry face. That's okay. We will be back. We will be back. Yeah. Miles Kinslow gives us $5 and says, hey guys, love the conference. Really appreciate your hard work. Also, Natty, thanks for showing your black card.
Oh, that was the funniest conversation. Sorry.
It's okay.
You guys, I don't know if you know this, but I've got 8 names.
No, I didn't. I
didn't know that.
I only know about Natoya.
So
Yeah,
around
well,
here,
that
that
tells
would
it
just
all
make you
anyway.
Catholic.
Well, yeah, but there's also a whole thing in the like black community, or at least in the Jamaican side, where they like to give their kids a lot of names.
It's a Caribbean thing, I think. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a Caribbean thing. Yeah, no, I was just having a really stupid conversation with Nathan and then Miles as well, who's friends with Prince of Queens. And we were just talking about, because I literally went, oh yeah, hello, you're Nathan, and I went, my name's Natoya, and he went, wait, are you black? And I was like, yeah, kinda. And I was like, yeah, do you want to see how many names I have? And then Sargon walked past, and one of them went, oh, look, he's also like a quarter black type. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then that made Sargon look super awkward. Anyway, he knows what I'm talking about. It was funny. It was a fun conversation. Thanks. I had fun.
Yes, thank you, Miles, for that. And then lastly, Ben gives us $2 and says, to be fair, I live in California, so it is hard for him to get keks there. Oh, and I just got another one from Polaris for $5 and says, best part of the event, giving a white man an N-word pass. So were there any highlights? Any highlights from the conference? And I think we'll just like wrap it up there. Like that you just thought were like really awesome or interesting. I didn't get to see much myself because I was busy, but I enjoyed what I was able to do. In particular, for me, I will always remember the time I was on stage with Tommy Sotomayor and Sonia Schmidt, and they were about to go at each other's throats.
Oh yeah. No, that was like the moment for me, because I was moderating that panel, and I'm listening to Sonia Schmidt kind of justifying the fact that she had 2 kids by 2 different dads, and then she did the responsible thing by going on welfare. And you can just see Tommy's just like, he's just tightening up, right? He's just like stiffening, and the look on his face, and he's like got his face down, and he's like, she's just not getting it. This bitch is just not getting it. And but she's saying all this shit, and he's just like absolutely, like, you can just tell that it is just like rubbing him so wrong. It's like listening to her talk is like somebody's taking a cheese grater to his genitals, right? That's how like he is, and yet he doesn't once interrupt her, and he doesn't, when he gets his turn to speak to what she said, he doesn't actually yell at her or say swear words or anything. He just reiterates his point about women being held accountable for their decisions and all of that. And so it was the exemplary moment for this movement, in terms of like, he didn't man-interrupt, he didn't try to talk over her or anything like that, and he, even when he got his turn to speak, he didn't yell at her or berate her. He just reiterated his point. But when I was looking at, I was trying so hard not to burst out laughing at how, like, at the expression on his face. It was the most freaking amazing moment. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think the level of restraint that he exercised there was just absolutely amazing. I don't know if I'd have been able to do that.
No. But he didn't give up.
really
He didn't give up any ground.
Right,
And
right.
so he
No,
responded.
he didn't.
And then she got more upset because he wasn't giving
Because he
up
didn't-
ground. Yeah. And I was like, where is this going?
Hello?
But this really brought home to me one of the challenges that is faced
Natty,
by the
we can hear
movement
you.
in terms of women's attitudes toward both accountability, their own personal accountability, and men having a responsibility toward women that women don't have toward men. That is so ingrained and entrenched in the psyche of the modern woman that it's almost like proving to a multiple generation very devout person of some religion
Hello?
or another that God doesn't exist.
Hello.
Natty, can you hear us?
What happened? I disappeared? Did I disappear?
No,
Yeah,
no.
we
Okay, but now that I've said my highlight, I have to disappear. I have to go pick up my man at the train station. So that was the multiple phone calls that I got.
Oh, I see. Okay, go, Karen. Thank you. I'll finish up with the rest, and then we'll just head out. I'll just ask them the same question.
All right.
Mentioning
Good night,
highlights,
everybody.
though. Mentioning highlights, there's one I want to mention. I thought it was pretty awesome. The moment that Count Dankula was asked, and then again later Aiden Paladin was asked if traps are gay, but not bluntly, in the most complicated and round the block way possible. And they both picked up on it, and they would, but and answered the question.
I got to help
proper manner.
Dankula's question, I want to point out.
That was fun.
Yes. Any highlights? Mike J, you got a highlight from the
Well,
conference?
I don't want to toot my own horn. But game night was a blast and a half. I simply only wish more people were there. Unfortunately, I do not think it was quite billed as well as it should have been, in terms of this is what it is, this is what it entails, this is what's happening. And that literally all you need to attend to join is a smartphone or a laptop, which I think basically everybody there had. But even for that, we started strong with, I think, a good 25 people, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a pretty darn good time. I had the few people that weren't kind of just part of our group coming up to us and saying, dude, that was a blast. I think you were funny. I had a good time. And I just wish it could have gone on longer.
Yeah.
To which I pointed all those people to our Discord. and
Yeah.
went from there. And of course, my other highlight was getting called up at the end at the closer and receiving one of the very, very coveted
Oh yeah.
HBR fedoras,
That's
which
right.
I did not expect happening in the slightest.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I also enjoyed that. That was cool. Thank
Yeah,
you very
actually,
much.
all of us here have a fedora to show for our hard work. I was gonna add something. Oh yeah, there were other people asking about the game night that approached me. Fred Hayward, Mr. Reagan, but they did not understand how it works because you were doing the
Yes, the Jackbox game.
Jackbox, and you have to use your phone. And I mean, they were just, it was basically they were having boomer moments. They just didn't get it.
I was just about to say
That's all
Fred,
it was. Yeah.
But Fred also like kind of told me a lot of stories about his marijuana-filled youth, so I wouldn't expect him to get it. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but yeah. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we actually have a hippies in the men's movement, but they're all really great guys. So, Natty, do you have a highlight?
Can I share my highlight?
Of course.
My highlight was the moment that well, so as you know, Richard asked the question during the panel with Paul and Terrence.
Oh yeah, I want to explain what that panel is so people know.
Oh right, yeah, go on.
I because it was my idea, so I'm but I was curious to see what would it be like if we had a panel that featured one men's rights activist, one man going his own way, and one red pillar / pickup artist, and we had the people that could have been there. We got Paul to be the MRA. We got Terrence Pop to represent MGTOW. Of course, we know they're not community, but just sort of like philosophically speaking. And we had the attractive man who I spoke to on the show to represent the PUA, but the attractive man never showed up. He ghosted us on that panel, and so we didn't have that guy. And I had to find an emergency replacement. Fortunately, one of the people that was helping with the camera and audio and recording and stuff was a guy who knew game. So he basically sat in as a substitute, and it went well. It went out very well. A lot of people complimented me on this panel, despite everything. So Richard, during the Q&A session of that, I'm going to give this to because they talked about incels a little bit. I'll let Natty explain though.
Yeah, what was the question? Was it something like, what advice do you have for incels? Was it something like that?
It was it was basically what advice do you have for incels? Yeah.
Yeah, so Richard I was sitting in the back with Richard, and he was just like, I want to say something. And I was like, yeah, go ahead, you should. And then he was like, will you come up and sort of sit near me, make sure I do it type thing. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I think he felt slightly slighted by Paul's comments, which at this moment in time, I'm forgetting what they were, which is really bad.
I think they were
something like.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was something like. Oh, you might jog my memory. Go on.
Well, I was thinking that it was a bit on the don't be a pussy beggar side, don't be a victim. That's what it was. It was essentially
that was it.
Yeah, it was essentially that incels are they have a victim mentality, and that they should get out of that.
Yeah, and I think Richard felt slightly slighted by that. And so, he asked his question, and he kind of made a statement, and then everyone in the room gave him a lot of support afterwards. And then after the panel, him and Paul had a chat, and he apologized to Paul, and Paul apologized to him. And apparently Paul said to him, don't apologize to me. You haven't got anything to apologize for. But I think I should apologize to you, because I actually, thinking about it, think I was being a little bit too harsh in the way I was approaching the incel subject. And so they had a good chat. And then in the ending ceremony where you guys gave Paul an award, he referenced this conversation, and he said that he learned from it. And I was quite touched by that whole thing, to be honest.
I was just so sad that he couldn't be there to hear that.
Yeah,
I
well, he
asked
was
him, like,
sleeping.
dude, where
in
were
his
you?
room.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sorry, guys, I was sleeping. Like, come on, Rich.
This is the thing. He
And
has
then
to. He has to
apologized
keep.
to us for not being there again. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
you
the
don't
thing
need
is,
to
he has to keep
apologize.
going back in his. He had to keep going back in his room to sort of, take
Decompress.
some downtime, decompress.
Yeah,
Because
I
he
understand
had
that.
a mini seizure on the first. Was that the Saturday or the Friday?
It was Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Friday.
Because he messaged us when we were doing our thing where he was supposed to be part with us. We did a little night on the town, and I got the text from right there in the taxi, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I had to tell him what happened, and I kind of almost wanted to turn around right there, but he said he was fine. He said he was fine. It was okay, not to worry about him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, it was not unusual, the fact that he had to keep going back and just being by himself, laying down, having a rest in his room. And so it was kind of annoying that he wasn't there when Paul said that. But, he'll see it on video and he knows what happened. So that was my highlight, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I was there for all of that, and I thought that was great because what Paul said, he admitted that he didn't follow the incel phenomenon really closely. He said that before he actually made his statement, and
Yeah.
I think that maybe he'll look into it more. I talked about it a lot on the show actually. I even had an incel on, and I think that I'm a lot more sympathetic than maybe I don't know a lot of guys in the manosphere, but yeah, only because I did that digging and I spoke to and I know people who are incels, and it is in their case it's completely out of their control. So people are asking.
I think
Go ahead.
incels and chronic pain patients have a thing in common in
Mhm.
that what they are going through, if you're not experiencing it and you haven't experienced it, it's a lot harder for people to recognize and understand. And when they do witness it
Mhm.
and they see part of it, they feel like they've seen the whole picture, and they feel like a solution that would work for them and their circumstance would also work for that person in that circumstance, and they get a little bit short-sighted in terms of offering their solutions. And I think a lot of people get wrongfully annoyed when their potential solutions aren't just picked up and run with. And the actual situation the person is in is often much more complex than people are taking into consideration when they talk to
Mm-hmm.
or about them. And
Yeah.
that makes a big difference. And I think that's a big disconnect between both of those two groups and regular society.
Yeah.
And I think both of those two groups are actually, we hear a lot about women with chronic pain because men are not allowed to complain, right? So I think in terms of work-related injuries and stuff like that, probably men with chronic pain do outnumber women with chronic pain. We
Mm-hmm.
just don't hear about them, and they're not given the same level of consideration. And incels who are men are treated completely differently than incels who are women, and they far outnumber incels who are women. And at some point, society is going to have to open up to listening to both groups, or we're going to be on one hand, in a medical crisis, and on the other hand, in a mental health crisis. That I mean, I can see both coming, and I don't see a lot being done to help either one.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I had quite a lot of conversations with people over the weekend about inceldom, and I was saying, look, you've got essentially two groups. You've got groups who I would put Richard into, who have a whole list of different conditions and different things going on that mean that even if they did, improve their confidence and improve this and do all the things that you might normally, advise someone to do, um, they're still going to have quite a few barriers that you're not even aware of in their life to having a relationship in the sense that you might think a relationship should happen. And then there's the other group that everyone likes to use to bash around. It's just lots of young men who are feeling very frustrated due to what's going on in society, and also as a result of numerous factors in their own life, but perhaps probably have much more potential to come out of where they are.
Course correct. Yeah.
In course correct, yeah, but are just frustrated for a shorter period of time, and now those guys are being the ones that what everyone thinks of as incel and are highlighted. Those are what's being focused on, and then the other group that I would describe as legitimate incels. I know that sounds, some people might think that that's just a bit offensive to some of them, but hey, that's how I describe it as. They're kind of being forgotten about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because everyone's concentrating on the second group now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're turning it into a community and all that, but well, anyway, there was something else I wanted to ask about. We're a little over. Oh yeah. I have one last thing. There's so much that we could talk about. We can go for a long time talking about the ICMI. Like there was I did not meet one person I did not like, and that wasn't absolutely awesome. Like for example, my wife, she unfortunately was. She was working in the exhibition hall, and she was stuck in this small room with books all day for all 3 days. And at one point, because she has a restrictive diet, we don't know how it happened, but she had this terrible histamine reaction, and she was just had this pounding migraine that she had never experienced before. She was in a great deal of pain. She thinks it's a histamine reaction, but it sounded like something beyond that. And she was just crying her eyes out in the hotel room in because it hurt so bad. And I had to get her she asked me to get her some medication. And the little gift shop was closed. And I was in dire straits because I'd have to travel on my own. I was basically just going to take a lift or something. And this guy who also had a spot in the exhibition hall, his name is Brian as well. That's not a dox because there's a lot of Brians. There was a lot of Brians at this fucking conference. I can't tell you how many I met, at least 4 or 5. This guy offered me a ride and he drove me. I didn't know him from Adam. I met him briefly, he knew of us, I guess. He drove me down to the Walgreens, which was about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away, and got me the stuff. And I got back and gave it to Lindsay, and she was better, like that, like within less than an hour. And I just want to say thank you, Brian, for doing that for me. But there was a lot of great people. They helped me out with my camera so I can do my interviews. It was like the knowledge that Alison wasn't able to make it to the conference. Not only did the crew come together and start really picking up whatever slack might exist, because it didn't, because we were on the fucking ball, but even attendees stepped up and they offered to help. I mean, I had 4 guys help me with my camera so I can do interviews with Mike Buchanan and Tommy Sotomayor and Paul and Diana and several others. And it was because of their help that I was able to do it, because otherwise I was running around by myself, because normally I team up with Jonathan on this and he wasn't here. And so it was just, everyone was just everything clicked, everything did. Everything worked out, and I'm really happy about that. So what I'm saying is, if I can be so bold as to speak for everyone, this is by no means an exhaustive list of all the things that were awesome about the ICMI. It was literally the best one yet. Mike Buchanan could not stop gushing about it. He kept saying, you guys really stepped it up. This is 3 gears higher than the last one, blah, blah, blah. And it will be the new standard by which we measure future conferences. And I think that would be, I'm just swelling with pride about that. I think that we all should be happy. And then not just us, not just the people who worked in, that were in the trenches making sure that this went over, but everyone else that helped us, without us having to ask, without just stepping in, we knew each other, we've known each other for years. And I guess it just shows the power of this community, and I just thought it was really great. So the one thing I wanted to ask you guys though, is so we have the next conference has already been decided. It's been announced that it's going to be in Sydney, Australia next year. So that's ICMI 2020, Sydney, Australia. And then after that, we're going to bring it back to North America, but it's going to be in Canada, most likely. We don't know exactly where, but that will be the 2021 conference. So I want to go around and ask everyone that's still here, if you could invite anybody you want to a conference and have them speak or be on a panel, who would you get? Despite whether or not you can feasibly reach them. I'm just curious. I mean, they have to be alive, so don't say, you know, Voltaire or something. But I'm going to start with Hannah on that. So, Hannah, did you hear that?
Oh, yeah, just my mute button wasn't responding very. If anybody who we haven't already had.
Yeah. Somebody that you thought would be great to get that we've never had before. And if they're not an MRA, that's okay. Because, I mean, I'm just curious. Somebody who would be a good get.
You know, I'm going to have to think about that. Like, come back to me.
All right, I'll come back to you. I'll ask Mike J.
Okay, well, my unrealistic answer, Donald Trump.
Men have problems. I know. I've seen it. Look, my first wife, she took half of everything. It was only because I'm really smart and I was able to build it back up that I could make this happen. I mean, yeah, okay, since we're dreaming, why not? Yeah, sure.
my more realistic answer.
Honestly, though, that would be good, if only because if Trump was at the conference and saw all the talks, he might, like, learn something. If that's, I would say that. But
Donald Trump only maintains as much knowledge as the last person he's spoken to.
Okay.
If we speak to him a lot,
he'll forget things.
Maybe.
You know what I got from this? Maybe video games don't cause people to kill people. That's something I have to look into it, but maybe.
I got to give my realistic answer. Matt Christensen.
Matt Christensen.
Okay. Matt Christensen, just Matt Christensen on YouTube. He used to go by Skag3.
Yeah.
And he's a guy I've been watching for quite a while. His politics, I'd say, line up almost identical with mine. And he's a guy that's been kind of breaking into a sort of men's rights mindset as of late. He was kind of took a long, hard look at the last three really high-profile mass shootings, and the fact that the thing that they all seem to share in common is a father was either absent or just simply not active in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And on one of his last Sunday shows, he kind of went on a bit of a speech about that, and ended with, you know, we need to make Dad great again.
Yeah, Matt Christensen's a good get. Natty.
I was just thinking, so someone you probably couldn't get would be Cliff Richards.
Who's Cliff Richards?
You don't know who Cliff Richard is?
No. I'm sorry.
Okay. So he's a boomer singer. You know, he's old. In the UK. Don't you remember that film Summer Holiday?
You know what? It's starting to come back to me now. No, I've never seen that film Summer Holiday. No, but
we're all going on a summer. Right. I just thought I'd remind people of who that is. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear us? Yeah, go ahead, Natty. Natty? Did we lose Natty?
Hear anything?
Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Can you hear?
Hello.
Yes, Natty.
Am I back?
Yes, I can hear you.
I started singing it.
It's like the internet doesn't want you to sing.
Okay, yeah. I said we're all going on a summer holiday. You remember that film? Okay, whatever.
No.
Anyway, he has been doing a class action in the UK because he got accused of sexual assault and paedophilia.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of money because he's a well-known singer and celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see how red-pilled he has become since he has started this fight, because this hasn't finished yet, because he wants to try and get the law changed where if you're accused of sexual assault, then you are need to be anonymous until you're found guilty. which we don't have really. Well, we do have sometimes, but generally we don't have in the UK. So that would be interesting because he would be a big name.
Yeah.
The other guy who is more closely involved in the community, in the men's rights movement in a general sense, is another black YouTuber called Obsidian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see him because I think he's fucking hilarious. I like him more than I like Tommy. Don't tell Tommy that. You know.
This is live. Tommy might be watching.
Oh.
He's gonna send you a letter. I'm sure he's watching.
Uh-oh.
He's lurking.
Yeah. Well, apparently Tommy's going to be in London in November, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited about that.
gonna-
Yeah, I'd really like to see him because I just think he's just unique in his approach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of anyone else. I can't think of anyone else right now.
I got some. So I've talked about this a bit with Lindsay and other people that I hung out with. Some practical ones that I think would be good to get would be Larry Elder. I think that
that'd be great.
Yeah, Larry Elder is great because he talks a lot about fatherlessness, but the thing is typically he speaks from, he's usually like trying to fight against race baiting and this kind of stuff. But I think that if he drilled down and treated the issues of the black community more like they were just men's issues, because I think that they are mostly, in my opinion, which is what Tommy is doing, right? I think that would be really effective. And I also think that Larry Elder has he has a wealth of wisdom that, he could share. So Larry Elder would be really good. I also think this is a little bit pie in the sky. I don't think Larry Elder is completely out of reach, but I think that Tucker Carlson
baby
would be a really good get as well, because he literally did a month on men in 2018. And Tucker, I think that he's becoming more and more interested in this topic. And I think that he would be really good. I don't know if you guys think so. And plus, you get to see that face live, like in 3 dimensions. And then
the Tucker Carlson face.
The Tucker face, yeah. And then the last thing that I think is, it might be a little pie in the sky. It's probably pie in the sky. But I think she'd be great. And I know this is going to sound really out of the blue, but I'm going to go with Shanty Banks. I would love to get...
boy.
I would love to get Big Red, and I swear to God, I'm trying to find her right now. I'm trying to find her. I don't know if she's like hiding or if she's just like, left social media completely, but to get the face of feminism, and I would give her a platform. I would let her yell at us for a solid hour without questions. And I think that we would it would be viral. So I would love to get Shanty Banks. I think that would be fantastic. I would buy her a jacket, a white one, so that with a matching scarf, so that she can literally be dressed in the same outfit that she was wearing in Toronto. But those are
the other person who I thought might be, you probably never get, but could have something to say about family court.
Who?
Who would be Judge Judy?
Oh yeah, Judge Judy. That would be cool.
She would be an interesting one.
Yes. Judge Judy would be great.
The people that I thought of are not as big as Judge Judy. Although I think pretty much everybody knows who I mean if I say Boogie. But he would be somebody to come in and talk, simply because he did talk on his channel a bit about his experiences with abuse, and
Hannah?
Oh,
I think we lost Hannah. People are having issues. But you know what? Hannah is using like a she said
looks at life as it is,
Oh,
and
there
then
you
works with
Hannah.
it, how it presents itself. Did you lose me there for a
Yeah,
minute?
yeah,
lost about half of what you said.
Yeah, we
Okay.
lost about half what you said.
I think he's got maybe a different perspective on it than we're used to hearing, because he seems to be more of a person who takes life as it is and works with it, rather than and it's not something that I wouldn't expect him to come in and say just put up with it, but it's something that from that perspective, being able to talk about overcoming that and getting through it and getting past it and everything, that might be an interesting talk.
Yeah.
The other one, nobody will know who I'm talking about, but the attorney from the 7 Years in Hell case, when she was dealing with that case, said she handles cases like that all the time. And it would be interesting to hear her talk about her experiences with falsely accused men in the court system. Because a lot of that, I mean, she's an Ohio attorney, but the law that is really behind all of these problems, the main law that is behind all of these problems, is the Violence Against Women Act, which is a federal law. And it has influenced a lot of state law, but you could get rid of all of the state law related to this, and as long as the Violence Against Women Act is in place, you would have the same problems. So
Yeah.
I would say Anne Catherine Harvey here in the Dayton area, she would definitely be an interesting person to bring in for a talk.
I actually think that that's probably not completely unfeasible either. I think that it's, I mean, assuming how, that she's not too busy and, she doesn't, like, she's interested in talking about this in front of a group of people. I think that that's actually really within the realms of realistic.
Possibility.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So, I'm also seeing some other, there's plenty of other people, but I saw some people naming other names. And Prince of Queens, who's in the chat, he said that a gay MRA panel would be good. I agree with that. I think that'd be cool. I would be interested. I don't know. But with that, let me see. We got some more super chats. So we got Ben asking, do you guys know when the next ICMI is? Well, we don't have dates yet, but it'll be next year in Sydney, Australia. Like I said, we're not organizing it. It will be the Australian team, I guess. Hopefully they'll get, who'd be good that they should try to get. I'm gonna ask them. Try to get Sydney Watson and try to get Human. You guys know who Human is, or Human? Those guys would be great. Sydney Watson would be fantastic. And there was somebody else Australian that I thought would be good too. Well, anyway, but that's where it is. Mr. Roboto gives us $2 and says, so did you form the League of Bryans with so many? No, I was too busy. I don't know. That's
exactly what the League of Bryans leader would say.
And then Mr. Roboto gives us $2 and says, did something happen with Alison again? That will be revealed at a future time. Alison's going to put out a video about it. We'll get to that later.
I've just had a quick idea in my head. You know who would be really funny and really interesting?
Who?
Tom Caulfield, the camera guy.
Absolutely.
Oh, he was great. I got to work with him. I was kind of always going to Andrew for my assignments, and he just basically threw me with him for the day. He was great. He basically gave me like the quickest 5-minute crash course. Like, this is what you do. This is what you zoom in on. You want it to look like this. You don't want it to look like this. Go for it. And he was great.
Yeah, he is the funniest fucking guy ever. He literally sexually abuses me every time I meet up with him.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's all good in my hood.
Under your hood? What? Oh my gosh.
No, but I'm
going to hell.
So much love for him. And like I did the role of uploading all the videos onto the hard drive. Now, obviously, I came and I said, look, I will be a volunteer, do whatever you want with me. But I specifically said I would do that role because I love Tom so much. Because, like, I just think that if he took a step back and said, okay, I could write a speech, or I could, he's got so many experiences he could talk about. I just think he would be really, really cool. In fact, I might even just ask him to talk at Messages for Men if he's not doing camera work, that is. But anyway, sorry. I'm just going off on a little tangent here.
Tom's great.
Still.
And he's also really hilarious. He's got great comedic timing. He should take that show on the road. Seriously.
Totally. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, maybe he should try and do some kind of comedy style thing. You never know.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've gone for an hour and a half. I think we're gonna quit here. Is there anything else that any of you guys wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say regarding the ICMI?
Yeah, sorry. Did you guys meet that guy who was going around giving $100 bills to all
Yes.
his favorite speakers?
Yes, he gave me one. I guess, did you know this? He said that he used to work with Tom Likas. Do you guys know who Tom Likas is?
Yeah, why can you get him Tom Likas at ICMI?
You know, I don't know. It didn't occur to me that Tom Likas, I don't know, it just didn't occur to me. But
That
yeah,
would be interesting.
that guy supposedly worked with Tom Likas. So, I mean, that's what I overheard, because he was talking to Lauren Brooks for a while, and he asked Lauren if she had ever heard of Tom Likas, and she was like, "Oh, I love Tom Likas," and then he said something about being a guy, a character, or something. So it seems like he was someone involved in some fashion. But yeah, he was giving people $100 bills, and he was, but the condition was you had to take pictures of the $100 bills in a very specific way. And I don't know where that's going. I hope that I'm not part of some giant collage that forms, you know, if you pull back, it's like a picture of a guy in a KKK hood or something. But I took the $100 and I did, because, you know, $100 is $100. So and I need it. But yeah, I saw that guy. Anyone else see that guy? I guess I'm the only one.
I saw him around. I saw him doing the thing. I never sort of inquired about it, although no, I kind of wish I did.
Well, he wants Erin Pizzy to do one. So apparently now is my mission to try and get her to do it, and she's totally like, no, donate the money to this charity or this charity, and he's like, no, I just want a picture. So I'll let you know if that actually happens.
All right. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so we're going to wrap this show up then. I want to thank Mike, Jay, Natty, Hannah, and Karen for taking the time to come on and talk a little bit about the ICMI, sort of, I guess you could call it an autopsy or whatever. I want to thank everybody who went to the ICMI, everyone who supported us by buying bricks, attending, whether it was virtual or in person, and of course all the speakers. There's just too many people to thank. It's just, the list is way too long. But as far as this show goes, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching. So if you guys could please hit like, subscribe, comment, and join the notification squad by hitting the bell, that would be great. I have been Brian, you have been awesome, and we will talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.